the sound?
Oh, no sound yet. Okay, we are live. How's it going, Steven?
Hey, Gideon, how are you? Welcome back to Dabi and Costello after a week hiatus. So it's been 2 weeks now, right? Since we've
2 weeks.
Since we've seen each other.
That's right.
Man, how have you been, Gideon?
I was great. We went to Boston for the holiday, which was nice and kind of weird at the same time because you think you're away from all of this nonsense, and then you go to a Whole Foods and everyone's wearing fucking masks. I mean, I know that, we know that it's going on everywhere, right? We know that it's going on everywhere, but you kind of don't really know that it goes on everywhere until you sort of see it. So
it's funny. My wife and I drove down the shore yesterday. We actually literally drove shore point to shore point to shore point. We started out in Seaside Heights, and we're like, everyone's, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, we're doing it. We're killing COVID, right? We get to the boardwalk in Seaside Heights, and I have to tell you, there's probably a 2% of people wearing masks on the boardwalk, right?
Yeah.
Now, I mean, I get it. You're outside. You can socially distance, but no one's social distancing either. So there's people like in clumps, in lines, waiting in lines for rides, waiting in lines in the fucking in the water park. No masks, no nothing, all clumped up together. It was insane. So what did we do? We're like, let's get the fuck out of here. So we drove down to Atlantic City just to see how that is.
How was that?
No social distancing. Half the people still not wearing masks. Unbelievable, right? We're like, let's get the fuck out of here. So where do we go next? We drove down to Ocean City, and I have to tell you, in Ocean City, New Jersey, I'd have to say there was a 90% mask-wearing crowd. And they were actually socially distancing and doing the one-way pattern. So one shore point out of, I don't know how many, seems to be getting it right. So I don't know, Gideon. Our numbers are down in New York.
No deaths yesterday for the first time since March. Oh, Steven just stuck. Oh, no, he's stuck. Well, I guess it's just a solo show now. I hope everyone's great. Steven comes back. That's all right. Well, in the meantime, I'm going to actually start the... Oh, wait.
Sorry. I lost it for a second. So, I'm telling the truth. That's what happens. When you tell the truth,
they're blocking us.
They are blocking us.
Yes.
So, I don't know. I don't know how long this is going to last because people aren't doing it now. I mean, it's insane. I mean, just wear a mask. The only thing that we did, we went on one ride in Seaside Heights, and it's because you were at least 20 feet apart in this, it's like this suspended, almost like a ski lift ride, right? Okay. So it takes you from one end of the boardwalk to the other, and there's at least 2 cars in front of you and 2 cars in back. So it's a good 25 feet, and you're also about, 50 feet off the ground. So you're pretty much distant from everybody. It's insane. It's insane. People go out there, go in the sun, and they just fucking lose their minds.
Yes. I'm sorry that this performance didn't work out. I want to try it again because this is so cool. I'm going to show this. I like to start with the performance. I'm actually going to get the audio going. Check this out here. You ready for this? Check this out. Do you notice anything weird yet? It's the same woman.
I know.
That's kind of cool. That was nice of her to change her hair.
Yeah, and I love how it's nice that she's watching the other performers as well. Like she'll look over. And
she's taking her cues from the virtual hers. Anyway, I thought that was really cool. I wanted to share that.
No, it is a cool idea.
We do have another video coming up, but I'm gonna wait for our special guest for when that one comes on, because that's gonna be too much fun for us to do that.
So,
This was not a great week, Stephen. I got to be honest. Overall, this was not a great week.
yeah, tell me about it.
And I would be remiss if we didn't. I don't want to start on like a super bad note, but you kind of have to say something at this point. We have to acknowledge our friend Nick Cordero, who passed away from COVID. This is the worst fucking story you have ever heard in your life. This is a 41-year-old guy who was healthy. His son is not even maybe just turned 1 year old. They thought he had pneumonia. He just kept getting sick. He kept getting sicker. Went into the hospital, ventilator, a stroke, another stroke, blood clots in his leg. Leg needed to be amputated. Like it's the worst. Like, we always say, "Oh, this is the greatest." This is the worst. This is really the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. It is so sad, and we have a connection to them anyway, so it makes it bad. But this, I think, is just like the worst thing I've ever heard in my life.
Absolutely, and you know what? And anyone that says COVID is fake you're full of shit. Oh, God, it's unbelievable. You hear stories like this, and it's heartbreaking. It's awful. It's awful for the family. You know what? Do yourselves a favor. Put your fucking mask on. The way I showed you, they didn't watch our last video because obviously they're still putting the mask on wrong. So, I don't get it. I mean, out of respect to everyone else around you, just wear a mask. You know what? If you don't want to wear it and there's no one around, don't wear it. But when you have a chance of walking past one person, put it on. Be courteous. Be polite. Yeah. Come on. I mean, let's. Yes. It's funny. I mean, I feel like in times of crisis, the United States used to rally around each other and get through it together. And I feel like with this COVID pandemic, too many people are just trying to make statements, political statements, points, and it's like enough's enough already. You know what? You can't see a pandemic. You can't see a virus in the air. You don't know where it is. So do yourselves a favor. Just fucking put on the mask and
so we wish the best for Amanda's lovely wife and his son Elvis.
Completely. I mean,
have been so generous, with donations for them. But I mean, what can you do?
I don't know how she does it. Amanda's such a strong person, and she's just been amazing through this whole thing. I mean, anybody else would have completely fallen apart, and she's just she's like the model of what we should all be.
Grace, of absolute grace and graciousness, is really amazing. So we wish them the best. We also lost the great composer Ennio Morricone of the Untouchables, of The Mission, of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, to which the Washington Post wrote, Ennio Morricone, Italian composer who wrote Ai Ai Ai, theme of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, dies at 91. They reduced Ennio Morricone to Ai Ai Ai, and they literally fucking wrote Ai Ai Ai, as you can see at the official tweet right there. People are getting dumber and dumber and dumber, and this is just embarrassing.
Well, I mean, come on. Washington Post is a political paper, and as we know, politicians know nothing about the arts and music. So
that's true. So they don't know anything.
You can't hold them to accountable.
No, I guess we can't hold them to account to too much. But we do have a great show.
We're
gonna celebrate Phase 3. Phase 3, we have by popular demand, our favorite guest, the great Latonia Moore. And for people who don't know her, well, you're in for a treat. And I know she doesn't like it. She actually posted a little bit of music for herself. She did. But wait, before we get to her, as somebody noted, oh my God, I'm ahead of myself here. And that is, what are we drinking today?
Oh,
weekend alcohol.
Go first, Gideon. Go first. What do you got?
Go first. Okay. Hold on. Wait. Okay. So this is mine here. So this is from the fabled Wild Turkey studio. Comes Russell's Reserve. 10-year-old bourbon. This is brought to you all the way from downstairs, the great liquor store of mine, brought in. And I'm very excited. I have not tried it yet, even. I'm going to do it once again to try it on the show, as I promised. And it's already in the old decanter here. And I'm ready to go and let you know what it is. How about you?
Well, I'm actually kind of on the lighter side today. I'm drinking a Corona Light, and the only reason I'm drinking it is because I decided to make homemade chili, and that's the only beer I had in my refrigerator this week. And so I start, and you know what happens. You start putting it in the chili, little for the chili, a little for you, a little for the chili, a little for you. And then next thing you know, you're drinking tons of Corona Light, which is then no longer Corona Light. It's just plain old Corona at that point. And I've been told a long time ago, once you never mix beer and alcohol, and I've learned my lesson over the years. So
nonsense. So
I had to.
Yeah, this is very good, by the way. I'm a fan.
Is it? But you never know. The show's just getting started, and I could change my mind within the next 15 minutes or so.
Well, I think that'd be very, very cool if you did. So should we get started? Because there's something I want our guests to definitely see before we go any further. So I'm going to bring her on, if that's all right with you. But Absolutely. First, as always, what we like to do is our favorite thing that we like to do, which is to play a little bit of what they can do, of the great stuff that they do. So I hope Latonia will not mind me showing this. Latonia, welcome to the show again.
That made me want to cry. I know that's so funny to say, but just because we have Porgy coming up at the end of the week, I mean, just seeing any clip of it, I was like, oh my goodness. Anyway, hang on.
Yes, well,
welcome to our new time slot. Welcome to our new time slot.
Yes, thank you. I'm sorry for the echo in here, but I'm in the business center downstairs in our condo building. And so it's a little echoey. You know, I should try to sing something, but you know, since y'all already beat me to it.
Are you actually allowed to work in your business center in your building?
We have to reserve it, and of course, as soon as I walked in, I sanitized the whole thing with my special sprays and stuff. I mean, I wiped the whole thing down, but I had to reserve it 30 minutes before so that I could sanitize the whole thing.
Not here. Not here in New York. Our common areas are not open yet.
No.
Well,
gyms, no nothing.
Florida, and you know how things are here.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh.
Well,
where in Florida are you?
Right now, listen, I'm here in Miami. And I have to say, for the most part, people are very good about wearing their masks. Anytime we've been in public, hello, oh my gosh, that. But anytime we've been in public, I always see people with their masks on. I see people sanitizing their baskets at the grocery stores. I can count on one hand the amount of people I've seen with no mask here in Miami proper.
You know, it's funny.
Outside Miami is a completely different world. Of people that are in absolute denial of the existence of the virus.
Yeah.
They are sure it's a hoax. And even if it's not a hoax, they go, well, let me just go ahead and get it. You know, that way if I've got it, I can say I already had it and I have the antibodies. I'm like, you're missing the point. So,
yeah, no.
You know,
I can tell you, everyone talks shit about Florida, but you know what? Like I said, Seaside Heights, New Jersey, no one was wearing a fucking mask. It's like it was summer 2019. No one gave a shit. People were waiting in line. People were sitting next to each other eating food. It was just, I felt like.
Let me tell you one other thing. Let me say, and I don't know if I said this the last time we were together or not, but I flew back here on March 13th from France. I flew back to Miami.
Me too.
I got off the plane, and I don't know if anybody's been to Miami International Airport, but it is the shithole of airports as far as convenience. I'll tell you that. It takes forever to get around it. It takes forever to get out of it. Nobody knows how to help you, right? So anyway, in record time, I got from France, from Charles de Gaulle to the Miami International Airport, no problem. I got through the airport, and I shit you not, 11 whole minutes.
Whoa.
I had my bag. From
Impressive.
the plane, I went through customs. Nobody checked my temperature. Nobody asked any questions, nothing pertinent. They said, where were you? I was in Rouen, France. How were you there? How long were you there? I was there for 5.5 weeks. Thank you. The end. Nothing. And then a colleague of mine flew home 6 weeks after that to JFK, right? Cuomo Town, who's got it down pat. I know, right? Same deal. She flew through customs. No problem. No temperature taken.
Yeah.
Now, how can you say that you got everything under control when you just letting people in with no problem, no check, no question? It blows my mind, y'all. I'm gonna say the numbers. I'm so proud of New York. I have to say, it's really, really impressive. And I think the biggest reason why we're in this state right now is because we didn't have a leader that made a decision for us all. Instead, he left it up to every governor, every mayor even. Oh, y'all can decide whatever you want collectively. I trust you. What kind of bullshit is that? I know I'm not supposed to say that, but this is the problem. If you let every rich person, every rich state decide everything that they want to do, how can anybody follow the rules? How can anybody even care to help if nobody agrees about what's going on? In the end, I think it's a sign of respect to other people to just put on your mask and sanitize. Please keep clean. People are so fucking nasty and we know it. People that don't wash their hands, people that don't wash things, people who just cough into the ether thinking, oh, my germs just disappear into the ether. No, they're coming into me. They are going into her, into him, other people. It's only a sign of respect. But I can't blame the people who are the naysayers of the virus. I can't blame them because we have not had any clear-cut decisiveness from the government. When you don't have that.
I blame the government. I blame the government on not putting our show on. If they put our show on nationally, we could tell everybody, put a mask on. We could show them the stats. Yeah. What do you think? I think we should lobby for this show to be national.
Well, there's a new wrinkle, you guys.
If it's not this show, it should be a show where people are being very candid. People who usually you see doing other things like us. We're singers, right? This is what we usually do. But we have a voice other than singing. We're humans like anybody else. You put your one foot into the panties and the other and pull it up like any other girl, and you take a shit on the toilet like everybody else. We're all the same.
I personally,
we gotta do it collectively.
I mean, I personally don't wear panties, but I mean, to each his own. It's just not.
We don't judge. We don't judge, Stephen. This is a.
So I have to tell you,
zone.
you just put the picture of the casino up. I don't know if that was Vegas or Atlantic City, but my wife and I drove down to Atlantic City yesterday, as we were told you, went through our short points.
Yeah.
Walked in the casino. There's a big sign there, and the guy looks at me and he goes, "Hold on," and I'm like, "Okay." He said, "Read the sign. Does any of this pertain to you?" And I look at the sign. I'm like, "No." He goes, "Okay. Have a nice day." No temperature.
Did you cough?
No temperature check. No nothing. And you know what, Latonia? It's funny you say that because it's funny you talk about the airport because when I came back from France, right after they shut everything down, and I came through JFK, I get in line with a whole bunch of people from all over the world, and there's a guy standing there in front of me, and he goes, "Where have you been?" I said, "I was in Paris." He goes, "Are you sick?" I said, "No." "Do you feel sick?" "No." "Have you been around people that are sick?" "No." "Okay. Have a nice day."
Yes. Have a nice.
Okay, but Stephen, at least he asked you.
Yeah, but let's be honest. I mean, let's be honest. If anyone wants to come into the country, what are they going to say? "Yes, I'm sick. Yes, I feel sick. Yes, I've been around people that are sick. Yes, I can't come in." Come on.
To lie. Okay, of course, the person has an option to lie, but to not even be asked the question is bizarre. You have to try. You have to make an effort to try to screen people. Don't let them in blindly and be confused about the rise in numbers. It drives me insane, people.
Yeah.
It really does.
By the way, all of our viewers, if you don't hear from us this week, it's because the government came into our houses and silently killed us.
That's right. Too much truth. Too much truth. So we've been worried about how this thing is going.
Me and my family, we're crazy. We're ready.
We have a solution to all of our problems, you guys. And I was waiting for Latonia to join us because that's right. Everything is going to be solved thanks to this new product. That's right. It's breaking records. It's the newest thing you've ever seen. Are you guys ready for this?
No.
Come on. All right, come on.
Ready? I know I built it up. Sorry, it's a one-man operation here at the technical side. Here we go.
Oh, God.
This is real. Look at him go. Kids too. There you have it. All our prayers have been answered.
We'll fucking do operas with that on and still get reviews that say we have no expression.
Okay, first of all, just seriously though, right? But let me tell you the very first thing. Do these people not know anything about the way sound works? Number one.
I don't know. Those were real singers there, weren't
they? Into that pillow, even if the pillow was there, that shit is coming back.
Well, let's be honest. Wait. We didn't specify. But we didn't specify. It said it was for musical theater, which means you probably could put the microphone with inside the mask.
Oh, good point.
Oh my God, baby.
We have some great reactions in the chat now.
I'm being serious.
And what about that little square of extra air supply?
Well, that's because everyone is going to do an opera set to Howard the Duck. Everyone's just like in these duck-like costumes, you know?
Okay, so I'm a big Marvel fan, so I love Howard the Duck as a character, right?
There you go.
So that would be hot. You put one of them bills on the end and stuff. Sure, if you do a concept opera, let's say you're doing Rigoletto and you make it Howard the Duck, you know what I mean? Or, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, give it that long nose and the ears, get the Jessica Rabbit, get a concept going.
So many things. They should, again, hire our show to deal with the world problems.
Well, the good news is that we have an actual opera production that is happening. And yes, and it stars our dear friend and friend of the show, Leah Cordero. They are doing a Tosca outdoors in Minnesota. That's right. It's a new thing with socially distanced staging, as you can see, and they're going for it. They are absolutely going for it in Minnesota, an outdoor theater, live everything. And people spaced apart. They're going for it. Good for them. We're glad. Here, drinks to Leah. Good for you for getting work during this time. And
they're being pretty great. You go, girl. You're going ahead.
Yeah. At least they're being pioneers and taking the chance,
That's right. Yes, Kim with the fuck it, wear snorkels. Let's see. That's also an idea. Thank you, Kim. So they're going for it.
I think it's a good step, this social distancing sort of shows, because let's get real. I think about how many times I've done opera in concert, and it's totally socially distanced anyway, right? I remember doing Aida Ravinia Festival. We stand there, Ravinia, you stand there in concert form, just in a line, you know, and you try to do semi-staging, but you don't really because, you know, you're married to a microphone because it's an outdoor venue.
Yeah, you know.
So that was already happening. So the fact that this is happening is very good. I wish more companies would do something like that.
Yeah, that surprises
me
too. You know, I don't know why companies like now, like they've lost their spring season. There's like they're letting people out on beaches as long as they're socially distant, outside socially distanced, because they said the virus doesn't carry as far in the air. Why not restructure your seasons to do them now in the summer and in the fall, where you can do things outside, where you can plan these out?
Let me tell you, because I have actually been thinking about that, specifically about the Met, because with a house that's so large in size, just technically the 4,000 person capacity, it's really hard for them to keep going after the pandemic. Even a year and a half out, it's hard for a company like that. So I'm like, this is the perfect time for y'all to utilize that outdoor venue that's on the side, all that outdoor space in the front that you usually sit people out there to view screens and stuff. Yeah. You can utilize all that space. But I think if I thought personally, here we go, more trouble for saying things. I think that Peter Gill is being very careful about scheduling things outside because of what's happened in New York. The numbers are going down. They're constantly going down. And I don't think Cuomo will be down with him having a big gathering outside in front of Lincoln Center. I really don't.
I think the issue too is with the Met is a special situation because of all the unions they have and all of the staff they have, that when they do a production, I'm sure that they have to pay contractually. So it's different than, say, like a regional theater where people are hired per show basis, and they're not required to hire so many people, and they can hire them as they need them. So it's a special situation. It's definitely not a position I would want to be in, honestly. But
funny that you. What's that? I was just going to say, when we had David on, I remember I got my head nearly taken off because I said, why don't they just do pay-per-view or something like that? They don't need the audience. I had a lot of purists mad at me. Well, guess what? That's exactly what they're doing. That's right. $20 a pop. They're going to have mostly recitals from all around the world, and they're going to try it. They're going for pay-per-view. Why not? It's easy money. You can do it with a little camera and a guy and a piano. You don't have to worry about audience. $20, you get a nice concert. Why not?
I hope it works. I think it's at least something is trying. In my own opinion, I haven't bought a movie in pay-per-view for years, especially ones that just came out. I don't know. I think the problem with opera is that it's just an audience thing. Like, you're there with the show, you want to hear the chorus, you want to hear the orchestra, you want to hear it all, and eventually we're going to have to find a way to get back in the houses, or find a way to do productions, socially distant productions. But I think when you eliminate the orchestra and you eliminate the chorus and you eliminate all those aspects, it just, you're not going to get as many people to turn out as you used to.
No, but I think it's a good stopgap till they can.
Absolutely.
That's the thing. It's that or zero, It's $0 or whatever they can make from that. I don't think it's a bad idea. See, I mean, that'd be pretty cool to get like a solo recital.
For me personally, I have to just interrupt like that. I think personally, I think it's a strange idea, since they've been offering so much for free, these recitals, to suddenly charge for them. But I think I would be okay with them charging if they presented, something different. Like, they're presenting mostly the same artists that we saw in the gala, who are fabulous. They're the big stars, of course, you know what I mean? And a few others.
Except for that one guy. That one guy in that gala was pretty bad, though.
There's been a whole new slew of people. Because I'm a fan of the people they chose, believe me. I mean, I'm obsessed with Renee Fleming. Everybody knows that. I mean, I puke every time I see her. Like Stan on South Park when he sees Wendy Testerberger, what? You know what I mean? I'm crazy, right?
That's
I think this would have been a really great opportunity for them to showcase other stars that they have at the Met that don't, that didn't get to be on the gala, because I think more people want to see new stars too. Like the three of us.
I get it. I understand. But the thing is, the other thing is too, is like, Latonia, you know how this is, and Gideon, I'm sure you know this too. When you cultivate a recital, right? When you come up and plan it, you don't plan on doing just one-off recitals and then next week doing a brand new recital somewhere else. So how long is it in opera, for instance, that you say, I love Jonas Kaufman, I love them all, I like you as well, Latonia, but if they do the one program here and then Vienna says, oh, we want you to do that program for us too, how many times can one person join in to see the same program? Do you know what I mean?
It depends on who's watching it. I mean, for instance, I'm doing a recital coming up soon that features things on the program that everybody's heard me sing at different times. But most people haven't sing a lot of the stuff on the recital. So in that vein, I get it. You know what I mean? You present the same thing. However, I agree. Just as an audience member, it kind of sucks balls if I go to see somebody sing a recital and it's the same thing all the time and it's the same sort of stuff. I would definitely want to see something new, something different, you know?
Yeah, I think this would be a great chance for them to do works that they wouldn't do in the house. You know what I mean? Like things that you wouldn't do, like obscure operas. Find a way to do obscure operas, stream them online in concert. You know what I mean? Maybe get a bunch of people together. I mean, look, recordings happen this way all the time. You record, some people like don't have enough time to finish their sessions because they're so busy. They record the orchestra and then you go into a studio and you figure out the tracks and this and that. Sometimes you're not even in the same room. So that would be a great time now to try to find works that have not really been performed, because you know what? If I don't like something for $20, great, I heard it, and then you may never hear it again. But you know, I'd rather now hear something obscure for $20 than go into an opera house, spend a couple $100 and hear something obscure that I know I'm not going to like.
I'll tell you this though, the one positive thing about it is at least we're getting performances. At least we're getting something. You know what I mean? And there's not just this standstill of them not producing new content.
Correct.
I think just the fact that we have anything to do without is a positive thing.
You're right. Until those people in Seaside Heights put us back out of work because they're not wearing masks and socially distancing.
Well, I'll tell you what, speaking of being that we're all big truth tellers, here's a nice little follow-up. Yes, that's right. We are truth tellers. I mean, well, I'll think of a better name than that. It's kind of clumsy. But in any event, our mysterious guest from a few weeks back, Samantha S., whose we'll protect her anonymity so her employer doesn't get upset with her, we were discussing that case in the NBC Contributor. Do you guys remember the story? There's an NBC contributor who tested negative for COVID 5 times, yet was brought onto the show as their medical contributor. He's the virologist, over a dozen times to talk about his condition. And now, guess what? He took the antibody test, negative. So are these false negatives or is this false story? And do we give a shit? Oh, I brought it in early.
I give a shit, and I'll tell you why. Even if a test is even if a test is at 50%, for the results, five times you're supposed to. You should hit positive at least once, right? But if you're not positive at all and you're hitting a negative each time, I don't know. But then it brings us back to all of this shit about the virus, and it brings us back to all these people that think it's all these people that aren't doing their job by wearing masks because of dipshits like this that use it to promote themselves to get further in their business. You know what? And then once it comes out that it's false and he doesn't have it, people don't believe it. And then people don't want to do it. I give a shit.
I completely agree.
I give a shit.
That's five negatives and then the antibody test. So it's 2 different tests and still came out negative.
You know what? I think they should take him, put him in a room, infect him with COVID, and let him sweat it out.
Jeez. Well, no, then he'll be fine, right? Supposedly.
I mean, he's lying about it anyway. You know what? He's putting how many lives did he put in danger by doing that fake shit? Let's be honest.
You know, he's definitely scared people. I can say that. But you know what, though? It's not all bad this week because I got a really nice one. This one's a good one. This one hits me close personally. An Auschwitz survivor to meet the family of the American GI whose kind gesture gave her hope. So this story goes on to say that this woman, when she was a little girl in Auschwitz, and a Jewish American soldier was one of the soldiers who came in and liberated it. And he gave her this note, if I can find it here, this note on a military. And he said, the start to a new life, he says right here. And there was a picture of the two of them together. You can see it very small here. There's a picture of the two of them together. They put it on Twitter. Oh, stupid pop-up, go away. They put it on Twitter, and the family recognized this photo, and they're about to be reunited. This little girl with the family of the GI who liberated her at Auschwitz. I love this fucking story. I absolutely love this story. It's so fantastic.
Oh my God.
That's some real heroic stuff, if you ask me.
My God.
That's a great story.
Absolutely beautiful.
That's the kind of story that they should be doing, like 30-minute, hour segments of them reuniting on news stations. That's the kind of shit we need to be promoting.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And all kinds of crazy stuff happened this week. In fact, we missed by a nose. What do I mean? Oh, this is wild. This Delta flight had to make an emergency landing at JFK because a bird hits the nose of the plane. You're like, so? It's a little fucking bird hitting a plane. So what's the problem here? Well, look what this bird did to the plane. Here, as I scroll down, if it shows up. No, not Harvey Weinstein, that's for sure.
Oh,
Come on, let's see it.
Could you imagine if Harvey Weinstein hit the plane?
Yeah, right. If he hit the plane. Look at this.
Oh, shit.
Yep. Look at that.
That's a big bird.
Damage on that plane. That's incredible. From a bird. I don't know. Was it like a pterodactyl?
Yeah, that's
what
I
said that. Yeah.
That looks like one of those like.
That's right, because there's aliens and everything. I mean, pterodactyls. I mean, before, you never know.
Yeah, that's one of those economy airplanes. The ones that like.
It's a regular Delta.
It's a big bird. Okay?
Yeah. That's why they can afford to make those tickets like $20 a ticket because the plane only costs like $5,000 to make. It's held by look at that like tin foil. Who knows? That's crazy.
I know I couldn't believe that when I first saw that plane. Okay, I got another one. What's that?
I gotta be honest. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I don't give a shit either. I'm glad everyone's fine. That's most important. I definitely don't give a shit. But you know what? I do give a shit. I'll tell you what. The New York Times has absolutely been on my shit list for a long time. They've become everyone's whining spouse, and today is no exception. Should we be drinking less? Asks the New York Times. And it goes on to talk about all of these studies that say maybe it's not so good to have a drink. Fuck off. That's my official public response reaction. Steven.
I'll tell you what I think about that.
Please.
Yeah.
I think that if you were somebody that was already drinking before, then keep doing it. Because I'm a big advocate of normalcy during quarantine and all of this is going on. See, you need to do whatever you were doing before, not anything too far off. Of course, add more exercise, eat a little bit healthier, but include all those things that kept you normal. Because I found that the most important thing during all this is keeping your brain healthy too. Keeping your brain happy. And if you're sitting there and you're used to having a drink twice a week and you have no drink and you're in quarantine with everybody, you're gonna go berserk. You're gonna go berserk on people for the wrong reasons because you're irritable. Believe me, I know. I'm here with 2 toddlers. And I started making myself very interesting cocktails when I need them. I've been making like bourbon with kombucha. I've been making, today I'm drinking gin and ginger. Okay,
ginger is good.
Gin and ginger. I'm keeping it healthy, but I'm continuing to drink. I'm not gonna pretend like I didn't want to drink before. And for those who were not drinkers before and they decide they want to drink in COVID, my suggestion is drinking in moderation. But to say we shouldn't drink is ludicrous. Obviously,
we should be drinking less.
Thing to say.
It
we need to keep people sane. And this is a legal drug. You understand what I'm saying? So if you don't want them to turn to all the other stuff, don't shun out alcohol because it is keeping people okay as well. All right.
Well, Latonia, I got to be honest. I'm a little insulted that you called us 2 toddlers over here. But besides that, I think it's a little funny that New York State declared alcohol essential business.
It is.
when this whole COVID thing happened. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Is the New York Times
For the reasons I just stated.
I don't know.
Oh,
They're already on my shit list. But you know what? Let me tell you what. I'll tell you what you shouldn't do in all this nonsense. You know what you shouldn't do? You shouldn't try to go swimming at the beach off the shores of New York unless you want your ass bit by a fucking great white shark. That's right. Great white sharks, including this guy. This guy is actually there. His name is Cabot. Isn't that nice? He's only 533 pounds. He looks very friendly. Very cute little puppy shark. Yes, great white sharks are lurking off. And as I love to make the movie reference, like the mayor of Jaws, beaches are open. Well, Tanya, you want to swim with some sharks?
I'm not down with the sharks. The sharks can go, but I'm not surprised to see them just chilling out on the shore. I mean, think about it. When all this quarantine was happening in the beginning, remember when you were seeing pictures? I keep saying about the Venetian canals. The canals in Venice, that you could see the bottom of them now. There were all these animals that were starting to come to the surface that never came out before. The penguins walking around chilling, like, wow, no humans. They're more badass who can walk around. So of course the whale sharks are like, yeah, let's go chill. Maybe I can find some easy food. There's barely anybody out here, nobody to save them. There's 3 of them over there, delicious. I don't blame them. I know that's silly to try and think like a shark, but that is what that shark is thinking. He's like, I'm coming up, I'm gonna chill with everybody because there's less people out here, and he feels safe, like he can be the great white he was always meant to be. Well, it's ridiculous.
You know, I personally think they should take that fucking shark and put it in Seaside Heights, New Jersey, because those people don't care. Because they don't wear masks during COVID. Just move the shark down.
Okay, that'll get people in the house real fast.
But keep it away from Ocean. Keep it away from Ocean City because they're actually doing their job and following the rules.
What is nice about what's going on now is that because things are progressing, we're actually getting some sports back, right? We're getting some sports stories back. And the more things change, the more they stay the same. And in this case, once again, David Price refuses to play baseball. He has a $30 million contract. He says, well, I don't want to get sick, so I'm not going to be playing baseball. Now, David Price, I'm hard on him because as a lifelong Yankee fan, he was notorious when he was pitching for the Red Sox for coming down with strange ailments every time he had to pitch for the Yankees because we basically treated him like batting practice. However, he's decided to opt out of the season. Latonia, do you give a shit?
No.
No.
I don't give a shit. I have no idea who you're talking about. And I don't give a shit. Now, it's not that I don't like baseball. I'm down with the Phillies. I'm down with all the Philly teams, you know, especially the Eagles, 76ers, what's up? You know, but no, baseball is not something I'm invested in. So, Stephen.
But what do you think about him opting out?
Give a shit?
Well, I mean, does he still get Does he still get his $30 million?
No, but he's made $30 million a year for the last like 5 or 6 years or so.
I don't know. Look, if he decided to I got to be honest. If he opted out because of contract negotiations, one thing, but because of COVID and not wanting to get sick,
yeah, you're okay.
I mean, I guess it's his prerogative. I mean, that's a fair. That's a fair answer. You know, it's not like it's COVID. You know, it's like we talked about. You don't know. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what will happen if you get it. He's protecting himself. If he has a family, he's protecting them. Who knows? At least it's a good excuse.
Yeah, I guess I would feel differently about it if you weren't notorious for skipping out. You know, then I would feel differently. If it's like other players have decided to opt out, but for some reason, I don't know. I'm just, but you know, I can't. I'm not in that position, so I can't really say. But what I can say is that Beavis and Butthead are back. Hey, Beavis. We're back. That's right. Comedy Central, 2 new seasons and spinoffs. Oh, that seems like Tanya looks like she gives a shit.
I give a shit, man. Shit. I'm all about Beavis and Butthead. GP for my butthole.
Yeah, she remembers it.
Yeah.
God, of course. I mean, I'm in my 40s. It's a generation of cartoons, so I'm down with it, man. I'm gonna put the kids to sleep. We're gonna go ahead and smoke a nice bowl and watch some Beavis and Butthead. I can't wait, for real. I mean, to me, it touches my heart. It brings back awesome memories. Gives me chills just to think about it. Really, so fun.
That's right. 92, 93, 94.
Yeah, man. It just goes to show that we have the best generation because all of the shows that we love are coming back.
That's right. Leah's not a fan of the Beavis and Butthead. That's too bad. But it's
she can never come on the show again.
Never going on this show. This was an interesting story. I like this one. So you know how when we grow up, everyone's like, "Oh, well, how old's your dog? Oh, he's 5. Oh, so that's like times 7. That's like 35." Well, apparently that's all nonsense. This idea that it's a 1 to 7 kind of ratio. And here's the poll quote I have. It says, a 1-year-old dog is comparable to a 30-year-old human, while a 4-year-old dog is comparable to a 52-year-old human. The rate of aging slows down when a dog reaches the age of 7. So this is a real myth buster as far as I'm concerned, because I went my whole life thinking that this is exactly what it is. And one makes a good point here. He basically says, a dog, what does he say? He says, this makes sense when you think about it. After all, a 9-month-old dog can have puppies. So certainly not a 63-month-old person who would only be 5 years old could have children. So that's an interesting change.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, can we really trust science anymore?
I thought about that before.
Can we trust science anymore?
I mean, I'm losing faith. You know what? I think we should, instead of eliminating the arts programs in school, let's get rid of the science programs because right now they're not doing a shit.
They're not doing so well.
We don't need it. We don't need it.
Oh my God, okay.
Yeah. Oh boy. Let's see what else we got here. This is a fun story. So, that time when somebody discovered nudes of your wife and then you just found out where they work and blew up their office?
No, I don't remember that.
No, you don't remember that? Oh, you don't remember that? Okay. Well, that's what Kim Jong-un just fucking did. That's right. And it wasn't even nudes. It was dirty depictions of his wife, and he just blew the fucking thing right out.
Wait.
Is that actual?
Yeah, there it is. Look, he's just leveling the building.
No.
May as well.
Yeah.
Please.
I'll tell you where I'm confused. I'm confused because I thought they said in the news he killed his wife years ago.
Maybe, but he's still mad about this.
Or she was missing. She was missing and presumed. She was missing and they presumed he killed her. Who knows?
He's a possessive man. He didn't like the depiction, the dirty depiction of his maybe missing wife. Just why not? Just blew it right up. Oh boy.
To each his own, right?
I got a million things I could say, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm scared of them.
Oh, you should. You should say them now while I'm looking for the next story here.
Yeah. What makes you more afraid of him or the fact that we're negotiating him with Dennis Rodman? He's like our ambassador to North Korea.
He's our go-to.
What? Yeah, he's blowing up buildings. Better call Dennis. Bring him in.
Dennis would know. Well, this is a fun story. Everyone likes these kinds of stories, right? And that is that there's a new comet. That's right. The comet Neowise is visible in the sky tonight, in fact. You can see this comet. So, I remember in 1986, I'm dating myself, Halley's Comet came around. Oh, by the way, you better not miss it for the next couple of days because it'll be 7,000 years till we can see it again. I hope to see you all there. But it's a once in 7,000 year blue moon. We get to see this comet with the naked eye. This is very exciting. I think it's kind of cool.
I think it's cool, but how How many overpaid scientists that don't know anything about COVID did it take to sit around, and how long did it take them to come up with a name like NeoWise?
Yeah, right. That's a really piss poor name. Now that I think about it,
You want to name it something? Name it Joe. Everyone would be like, "Oh my God, it's Comet Joe." Like, Nick, give it something.
but is it like hurricanes where you have to like
Ew,
cite
no.
the alphabet or something?
No, I thought hurricanes were like.
They should name it something cool, like Scarfrog.
Like
Something
what?
off the beaten path, something wild. I mean, you know what I mean? Give it a name like who is it? Elon Musk? What's his kid's name?
It's just like a bunch of symbols. I thought it was. I didn't know. Yeah.
Yo, okay. Here's a off subject topic for a minute. Sorry, ready? Okay. So the three of us, out of work musicians. Does it bother anybody else that like while half the American economy is unemployed, that they on the front page of everything it's like Elon Musk just became the 5th richest man in the world? Like, come on, who gives a shit at that point?
Think they're rubbing it in?
Yeah, I think so.
They're rubbing it in, Steven?
I think so. All right, sorry. Go ahead. Go back on.
It's okay. I have to. We're burning through these so fast. I gotta. You can keep talking till I find the next.
Still nursing that corona? How big is it?
What's that?
There was 2 here.
Okay. I was fixing to say. I was like,
oh, the corona. That's right. Okay. All right. Next story is. Oh, this is speaking of drinking. That's right. Well, even though the New York Times advises that we shouldn't be drinking as much as we are, the Republic of Iran has decided that, well, you really shouldn't drink or we'll kill you. That's right. Iran executes a man for drinking alcohol in the Mashhad prison. That's right. These are the sorts of other places in the world.
all I can say is
we're upset about the.
Is it illegal? Is it illegal? Really?
Yes, it is. It is absolutely
illegal
to
drink alcohol in
technically.
prison, and this guy knew.
Well, I mean, I don't think that makes it much better if he knew.
No. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Now, this is a case of a guy who lives in Iran, who knows that he's going to get killed for drinking alcohol. So, yes. I mean, I wish I could say I'm surprised that he got killed. But
well, this was, don't
drink alcohol in prison. You know that shit is fucking illegal. Don't do more illegal stuff. You're already there. Stop breaking the law, or you die. Case in point.
And it was his 6th time.
You know that shit ain't rocket science. We know.
Well, you know, I kind of give a shit because I was planning a vacation to Iran in a couple weeks, and now that I realize that drinking's off the table, I'm not going to go.
Yes, well, I'm certainly in prison. Well, apparently they're a huge consumer of alcohol, but it's sort of on the down low as far as what they're talking about.
I think I don't know. I can't have a comment. I think it's.
That's okay. I know. I just was like, wait, that's real? Yes, it is. Yes, it is real. But while you're drinking, though, while we're drinking illegally or whatever it is, make sure you don't hold it for too long. This guy's bladder exploded after he held in his pee for 18 hours after a gigantic beer binge.
Yo, how good must that conversation have been if you had to hold it for 18 hours? Like, because we've all been there, right? So you're like at a party, you're having a good conversation, you've drank a little bit, you have to go to the bathroom, but you don't want to break away from the conversation because it's good. You don't want to miss it. So you hold it a little longer. That was an epic 18-hour conversation.
Yeah. My 3-year-old son does that.
Yeah.
Well, thankfully he is okay.
He's playing Kirby.
He is okay.
He's like, oh, no, Mom, I'm playing Kirby. I don't want to stop. He pees this, right? So this guy is obviously through.
Maybe he's like going for a world record or something. Maybe he's now the champion.
I think the story says that he just like fucking passed out and then just
was it worth his bladder busting?
Yeah, but But wait a minute. Wait. I don't get it. Wait. If he passed out, how did his body hold it for 18 hours being passed out? Like, how is that possible?
I mean, here, we can. It's been a little while since we didn't have a show last week. Let's see what it says here. It says the 40-year-old man reportedly fell asleep after downing 10 bottles of beer during a heavy drinking session without heeding nature's call once. After experiencing searing abdominal pains, he decided to check into a hospital. He wasn't able to lie flat, and he failed to relieve himself of his massive urine reservoir despite several attempts. But the story does end happily.
You know what? I got to be honest. I don't give a shit anymore. I don't give a shit. I don't give any shit anymore because you know what? 10 beers is a lightweight. Give me a break. What do you mean a massive drinking session? After 10 beers, he couldn't hold it anymore and he passed out. I don't give a shit.
40. He's 37 years older than I thought he was. I was so wrong about it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of fake science, Stephen, I put up the story before, but we were talking about other things here. I want to know what the real scientists, the people in this party, have to say about this nightmare that COVID is airborne, and 239 experts have signed on to this idea that the viral particles float in the air and can remain infectious. What do you think? Is this fake news?
I don't know. I'm going to wait till next week when they say the opposite of what they actually printed here. So maybe we should hold. Like I'm getting tired of it. I mean, am I wrong? Am I wrong, or did they actually say that 6 feet outside without a mask is okay several weeks ago, and that the particles don't travel that far, and now it's they just stay in the air?
Look. Okay, look. In people's defense, this is still a new virus that they don't really know what's going on. So they are entitled to be wrong at this point. I mean, sometimes they're going to be wrong, especially when people are expecting and demanding answers very fast.
I get it, but
there's going to be error.
I get it, but you know what? Just saying I don't know goes a very long way. Or saying I don't know, but what I do know is a mask will stop infectious diseases from going in your body. Great, say that. Don't fucking say maybe, I don't know, it could happen. At that point, I could just print out a fucking degree that says I attended a Harvard medical school, and I'm in the same boat. I can give those answers. Maybe it'll happen.
Well,
but all I'm saying is the reason why they feel like it's necessary to say something is because of the pressure. Because they, constantly they're going, look, you have 2 weeks to come up with an update. You have to say something. We've demanded that you say this and that. We already know for certain that we're not getting the full truth, and we've been fed ass loads of lies. We know that already. People have admitted to it lying now. Fauci's admitted to lying. People admitted
to the mask thing. That was bad.
Yeah.
I
mean, come on.
Yeah, but you see, but look where.
Lied about. Look at just earlier right now in our discussion where we talked about the guy who never had coronavirus. But said, thank you for, blessing my recovery and all this bullshit. You know what I mean? People, money speaks very loud during this pandemic, as it turns out. Money and politics is what it's really become about, right? So
I agree, but look where it's gone.
What do you expect from people that are getting paid X amount of dollars to say exactly what people tell them to say? I'm not saying it's right, but that's why they're doing it.
Yeah, but look where it's gotten us right now. I mean, come on now. People coming out with facts before they're facts, with information that's not 100% true. It's like if you go and you're like, okay, I'm going to go on TV and I'm going to tell them this, but it's only 20% accurate as of now. We don't know. I mean, come on now. It's just like common sense. People know what can prevent something and what can't. Like wearing a mask can prevent it. It can't not prevent it. You know what I mean? It's like you're not. I mean, yeah, I'm sure it's not 100% effective, but like. It's probably 90% effective if used correctly. Yeah, I mean, so just go out and say, just go. You know what? I'm with the thing. Go out and say, you know what? There is a 60% chance if you can contract this disease, you will die. you don't know, but at least the number there is on the high side, and it'll give people the fear to wear the mask.
Yes.
So we're going to change gears off of COVID here. Do people have a right to change their minds, even if they went on the record in one way? Well, the reason I'm asking is because a Boeing executive resigned over an article he wrote in 1987. What did he say? Well, he opposed the idea of women in the military at the time, which was reasonably a reasonably accepted opinion at the time. He lost, of course, but this was unearthed last month, and he has decided to resign his position, even though he said he changed his mind. But this is an article from 1987. What do we think of this, Latonia?
Look, we know that if you resign because of something that happened back then, that if they open up the casket, they're going to find bones, and he's going to be exposed. So there's obviously more to the story. There's a reason. There's more to it. Maybe he denied attachment or whatever, but he doesn't want anybody looking into him. I think that's the truth.
Okay, but if we take him at his word, what do you think of that?
Okay.
That he felt it was bad for the company and that the right thing was to resign. What do we think? Do we think that is there a statute of limitations?
Then I don't have any more comment because I can't take him for his word. Not
you just don't believe him.
To me, I call shade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think there's more to it. I don't think he resigned from an article from 87, especially on the subject of, because there's been so much controversy years ago about women in the military. And I mean, since then we've gotten past that. But at one point around that time, it was a huge controversial thing. And I think there's something more. In 2020, going into 2021 in a few months. I'm sorry. I think there's way more to this story than meets the eye.
That's interesting.
But I don't know. I'm saying this. I don't know as a fact. I don't have an insider track on this. Please, Boeing, do not sue us.
Yes. Why would Boeing sue us?
These are our opinions. Yes.
Yeah, this is an opinion based off of no facts whatsoever.
Oh, well, this was a funny. I don't know if I want to say like funny, but it is kind of funny. So Michael Cohen, famed Trump fixer, went out to dinner. Of course, he was let out of prison because of COVID, like a lot of prisoners were, especially the non-violent ones, though they've let out some violent criminals as well. And he decides that he's just going to go out to dinner instead of his house arrest, which is, of course, the condition of his release. And there he is, just chilling with his family, just chilling. Well, guess what? He's back in jail now for having violated his house arrest. How dumb can you be, Latonia?
He's back in jail?
Yep.
You can be real dumb, apparently.
Yeah. Apparently.
What a dumbass.
What do you think, Steve?
You think anybody was going to take a picture of him?
Like no one knows who he is?
Go to a mom and pop restaurant. If you're going to break the law like that, go to somebody's house, the backyard barbecue with just 5-6 people. I mean, do it discreetly if you're going to break the law. Don't be so egregious about it. You know, what did he expect? Of course his ass is back in prison. This is hilarious.
Yep.
I mean, come on. He's kind of laughing.
You know, I gotta be honest. After all these months in quarantine, cooking my own food, I would chance going back to prison just to go out to a restaurant and have something good to eat.
You can order to go. You can order and pick up. You can do something. You don't have to go out.
You would see me at like Mastro's for my last meal, eating up the place, being like, I'm almost finished. You can take me in a couple minutes. Just take me back to prison that fast. Come on.
Oh man. Well, these are some more funny stories that now that sports are back. This is so great that sports are back, at least to a certain degree. The way they're doing, of course, are doing these bubble cities, right? It's like the NBA, they're gonna have to stay in their hotel rooms and all that, doing these kinds of weird quarantines. Well, anyway, Major League Soccer started back up again, and they're in Orlando. Well, you guys remember the Fire Festival? Yeah, you remember the Fire Festival. Well, look at these meals. $65 sandwiches for the MLS players. This is how they are feeding them. Maybe David Price was right to not fucking go into baseball for this season. Look at this. That's real. That's an Instagram photo from one of the players. I love your face, Latonia. You're going.
You know what? No shit. I would have rather I don't remember what team, some winning team got invited to the White House and Donald Trump served them Burger King or McDonald's or something. I'd rather have that than to eat this piece, just bologna and bread or whatever, that little sad little pepperoncini laying in the thing with a toothpick. That's some bullshit. Oh my God.
No, that looks like.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God, girl.
Yeah, that looks like one of those sandwiches you used to get in like. Looks like one of those sandwiches you used to get in public school that like was not on pizza day. Yeah.
No, because in this sandwich in public school, the bread was proportioned to the cheese to the meat because they had to wrap it up and it had to fit and stack up. I remember the cafeteria woman said everything had to line up, right? So no. One of them school sandwiches would be way better than this piece of shit, Lunchable that they put together for $65.
Yeah, Gideon, go back to the picture.
Okay, hold on a second. Wait. I gotta go back to hold on. I already moved ahead. You guys are moving too fast. Okay, hold on a second. Here we go. We go back to the picture. Now, here you go.
Look,
there you go.
You can tell the bread is stale because it's like a piece of white bread like, and it's falling apart.
Look, it's like crumbling. Do you see it?
Like when white bread is fresh,
you guys, a pickle.
That fills me with rage.
Yeah.
$65.
Well, it's gold. It's laced in gold. So.
Shit. Okay, fine. Laced in gold, and that shit better open up into a 3-bedroom apartment or something. $65 a sandwich.
That just
give me something out of it. You know what I mean? Can I get
that just shows you. That just shows you where Major League Soccer is on the food chain of American sports.
Well, you know what? I wouldn't speak too soon because the NBA players now have to fucking change in their hotel rooms. And let's keep going now because guess what? The NFL has decided, that's right, at the end of the game, you cannot exchange your jersey. That's right. You can tackle the fuck out of somebody. You can spit all over them. You can do whatever you want. But at the end of the game, as a gesture of goodwill, when you exchange your jersey, that's dangerous. You can get COVID that way.
Yeah. You know what's going to happen then? They're just going to go up to each other.
Okay, back up. What do you mean exchange your jersey?
So what is often done at the end of a game is instead of like after you shake hands, you'll take off your jersey and you hand it to and then you exchange jerseys as a gesture of like, hey, remember this game when I played it? That's what like a lot of soccer players do that. It's a common thing that they do. The NFL is not letting them do it. You'll catch COVID if you can tackle somebody, of course, but you can't wear his jersey. You can't take his jersey.
It's just going to turn into like a lot of like a prohibition jersey giving each other. They're gonna have like little like meet me behind the lockers in like 25 minutes and give me your jersey. Come on.
Oh well. I mean,
no, that's completely ridiculous. They're touching all over each other, coughing, sweating, jumping.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mouths open tackle. I've seen all kinds of stuff. Remember, what's his name? Mark Sanchez. They called him butt fumble because of something that happened with the football.
Oh, the butt fumble. Do you remember the butt fumble?
These sort of things happen all the time. You know what I mean?
That's a great hand gesture.
Their hands between plays. It's crud everywhere. Then they wipe their face. Dude,
right.
All over the face.
Do you remember the butt fumble, Latonia?
Huh?
Do you remember what it was?
Butt fumble. It was Mark Sanchez, and my husband knows the whole story. But it was when I think he went down. He was like hut when he was a quarterback, and then somehow
yes, he was. You know what?
The ball, he actually fell into the guy's buttonhole or something.
He you know what? I think.
Fell into it.
Not quite. You know what? I do. I have it ready to go.
Oh, you've got it.
I got it for you. I got it for you because that's what I'm here for. Okay, ready? Here's the butt fumble.
We talked to Tom Moore then at Indianapolis.
There it was.
Ball is loose. It's alive.
I have never seen this before in my life. Watch it.
Runs right into his ass.
Throw back into his quarterback. He's going to fumble the football.
Yo, Mark Sanchez gave him
That's what Reggie White used to do to
There's
people.
the butt
Forklift
fumble.
them and just lift them up.
Tasty.
It's terrible.
You know,
Well, we could take questions.
That was a running joke. Butt fumble was a running joke in our house for years.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a Jets fan. Sorry, Bo, to my brother who's a Jets fan. Sorry for making any Jets fan relive that. It's kind of I have plenty of bad nightmares as a Knicks fan, but sorry about that. We do have one more story. It's very controversial. So I don't think we should.
Thank you so much for pulling up that clip. You have no idea.
Oh, you got it.
Wait, you don't think we should do a controversial story? Is that what you're saying?
All right. You know what? We could always say no comment if it's a problem. Right? Right.
Oh yeah.
James Levine has been hired to conduct in Italy after his resignation from the Met.
Okay, I'll start because this is one of those things. You're like, should I say something? Should I not say something?
Mm-hmm.
This is all I can say.
Yeah.
James Levine is an incredible musician. When it comes down to it, regardless of his wrongdoings, everything that people have accused him of, whether it's true or not, is irrelevant when it comes down to music. See, for me, I feel like if that company is willing to look past the things that, of his past and look past everything that's been held against him, then that's their decision. And I think it's beautiful he gets to make some music again, personally. I do. I can't condone his behavior or not behavior because I wasn't there. I don't know what happened, so I can't speculate one way or the other. But for people like him, or even for Placido, it's up to the company. It's up to the people who are hiring them whether or not they want to continue to let them do their thing. But from artist to artist, regardless of what somebody's done, whether they show remorse for it, whether they don't, being an artist is being an artist. It's being a musician. It's like your lifeblood. You have to do it. It's what he was put here for. All those other things that happened in his life, when it comes to his artistry and his musicianship and things like that, I think that a company like, Fiorentino Musicale, I think they wanted to just kind of put it behind him and say, look, make your music while you can, because the truth is, it's not just about James Levine in the end. There are many people attached to his legacy, including myself. So the way I see it is, if a company's willing to take a chance like that and they want to let him put his art out there, let him put it out there. You don't have to agree with anything about his personal life or anything like that. You can condemn it all you want. But that company's going to put him up there. He's going to do his thing. There will be people in the audience that are there to see him and love him. And people got to deal with that. I'm glad he gets to make some music.
What I'll say is this. I don't know about this particular decision, but with all of these decisions, with all of these accusations and removals and resignations and all these kinds of things, I don't know what the proper amount of time or sentence, punishment, so to speak, is. But what we haven't talked about in all of these things is the path back. Okay, you fucked up. You lost these gigs. You're gone for however many years or whatever. What we haven't ever discussed in any of these, and not just in music, everywhere, we haven't discussed how people can work their way back.
Basically, what does it take to have that full repentance?
Well, I got to be honest. Before you talk about their way back, we haven't talked about their way forward. I mean, I don't think any of these guys had ever. I mean, I don't think that Levine has actually had his day in court yet either.
Well, that's true too. So
look, I worked with Jimmy, and it was one of the most satisfying experiences in my life. He was an incredible maestro. He was an incredible musician. It was unbelievable. Again, like Latonia, I don't know the facts. I don't know the facts of the story. I wasn't there. I wasn't involved in the internal investigations. I don't know what happened. And quite frankly, I don't think anybody in the public eye knows what happened because it wasn't all released in the press. And we didn't hear. And you know what? We actually didn't hear from Maestro Levine that much throughout the entire investigation. So, and I think that Maggia Musicale didn't make this decision lightly, just like these European houses are not making these decisions lightly about having performances during the COVID period. I think that they've done research. I think that maybe in their own investigation, they found the reason to have him there. And you know what? Based on merit, he's one of the leading musicians of the world. Based off of his past, I don't know. Maybe they know more about it than we do, and maybe, hopefully,
of course, many know more about it than we do. I mean, we're of a younger generation.
Yeah, and hopefully
that we're in the thick of all the accusations.
And hopefully, in the next few months, I'm sure it'll be a controversial subject. I'm sure that people will have something to say, and I hope that the Opera House lets us in on their decision making and lets us in on what brings them to this point to have him back. And then you never know. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a bad thing. We don't know, and we'll know soon enough.
Oh, I think we handled that pretty well. It was pretty dicey, but we did all right, I think.
But leave it up to the people of Seaside Heights, New Jersey. And
you're not happy with Seaside, are you?
No, I'm kind of annoyed. I've got to be honest with you. Look, it was a nice day. We got to the boardwalk, and then it's like every 2 minutes we're going like this, and we're going like this, and we're trying to just dodge people because none of them are wearing masks. It's like literally, we were on the Sky Ride, and I'm looking at this ice cream place, Core Brothers, and I'm like, oh, that's what I want. I want one of these soft serve ice cream cones, right? And I get it, and I'm doing the whole take a lick, put the mask on, take a lick, put the mask on, right? And I finally tell my wife, I said, you know what, let's get off the boardwalk because I don't feel comfortable eating my ice cream cone here. I feel like I'm dodging the virus every 10 minutes. And then as I get off the boardwalk, I'm on the street and some random woman comes right by us, not wearing a mask, and I look at the ice cream cone and I'm like, what the fuck? It's like I had 10 minutes of childhood and she just took it all from me.
Here we go. Mask wars. I had a weird thing happen to me the other day. I'm leaving the supermarket and it was pouring here. We had that tropical storm here 2 days ago.
Yeah, Drew.
And so, yeah, I thought it was Faye.
I'm joking.
You asshole. Anyway, so I get out and I'm like, oh shit. You get out of one of those motion detected side to side glass doors. I step out and I step over to the side and I'm waiting there just sort of texting Jess. I'm like, oh shit, waiting for this storm to go down before I run back home. And suddenly I have my headphones on. I hear, can you step back, please? I'm like, what? What's happening? And I look back and it's some dude who looks like he's in a fucking hazmat suit. He's got the gloves. He's got some older, larger gentleman. He's like, can you step back, please? And I'm like, where do you want me to go? Okay. So he wanted me to move 5 feet over to the right so that he would, at any point in the exchange, not be within 10 feet of me. And he goes all the way around me. It was the weirdest thing. It's like, okay, man, I had my mask on, I'm just sitting there with my groceries. You wanted me to move over. I'd never been yelled at for being within 20 feet of somebody. So that was weird. Mask wars.
God.
We should do that.
I have seen some crazy things here in Miami where people have been funny about people not wearing their masks. But more, I've seen things online. There was one incident when I was in the store. And I remember this was at the beginning of quarantine, in early March, when I just got out mid-March. And I was at the store with a woman and she said, oh, where did you get these 2 packs of water? Those 24 packs of Dasani. She said, Aquafina, where'd you get those packs of water? And I was like, well, I got them over there in the water section, but these were the last 2. She said, oh, well, can you give me one? I said, no, you can ask the people at the store for one. And she was like, oh, well, you should give me one because I'm pretty sure that we should only take one and that's it. And I said, I'm sure that they can stock some more. You know what I mean? They didn't say that there were no more left, but you need to ask somebody from the store. I was like, these bottles of water are for me. I picked them up and they're in my cart. And she said, oh, you think you're good because you're wearing a mask? And I said, what? She said, you think you're better than me? Give me this water. And she put her hands in my basket. And I said, I'm sorry, ma'am, you better move your hands because you're going to come back with a nub after that. You better move them. And she just went, yes, and start whispering something under her breath, in Spanish. I said, go ahead, go ahead. You fixing to get off my water. Do I feel superior because of my mask? No. I feel superior because I have my own water. If you want some water, go get your own. Get off my basket.
Right.
It has nothing to do with the mask or, whatever. You know what I mean? She had a mask on, but it was a bandana and it was only around her nose.
It doesn't work.
Not her mouth?
Because what we've been seeing usually, I brought this for demonstration. I was really hoping I could bring this grocery store.
Oh, yes. Here we go.
She had a mask on like this. And she said, oh, no, you're going to give me this water. You're going to give me this water. And I'm like, shit. You don't know how to wear your mask? She obviously knew she was wearing it wrong since she commented on the fact that I wasn't wearing, she said, you think because you have your mask on, you're superior, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what? Because I know how to wear her mask.
People are getting bold.
Get off of my water.
People are getting bold in COVID. I was downstairs next to my building smoking a cigar, and some guy comes up to me and goes, excuse me, sir. And I'm like, oh, God, my biggest fear. He's going to ask me for a light because then I'm going to have to do it and get close to him. And I'm like, no. And I'm like, yes. And he's like, can I have half of your cigar? And I'm like, excuse me? He's like, can I have half? And I'm like, no. He goes, oh, why not? Are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure. No, you can't have half of it. I mean, you want me to go to the store or something? I'm sorry, I don't have a second to offer you, but
even 10 years ago, I wouldn't be sharing nothing like that with anybody.
But still,
you know what I mean? They're like, oh, you want to share this? I'm like, no, I don't want to share none of it because where have you been?
I get annoyed.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know you.
I get annoyed when you go to a store with someone, you're like, would you like a soda? And they're like, no, it's okay. And then you get it, and you go, mind if I have a sip? And I'm like, fuck yes, I do. I offered you one 10 minutes ago. I get annoyed just in general, things like that.
Actually, you know what? There is one more story that I wanted to talk about. I love this story because I think it's just so incredibly indicative of the times that we live in. And of course, so Lady Antebellum, of course, referring to the period before the Civil War, decided that they could not call themselves Lady Antebellum anymore, so they're going to call themselves Lady A. Well, too fucking bad, because there's already a singer named Lady A. I don't know if they have her picture here. It is an older black soul singer named Lady A, and they are suing her for her name. And she said, I'm paraphrasing, but it was something to the effect of, there's no way I'm going to give up my name so you can look more woke, is what Lady A said. The real Lady A said to Lady Antebellum. I love this fucking story. I really hope that the real Lady A wins this big time.
I don't disagree. I think Lady A should sue the fuck out of them. But also, aren't there 3 people in that group?
Yes.
So why the fuck are they called one person? I don't get it. It's like there's 3 people. Come up with the name for 3 of you.
But actually, no. They're suing Lady A.
Lady A's problem that they chose a name like Lady Antebellum, and at present moment, it's not popular. That's not that woman's problem. That's their fucking problem. They need to find a new name on their own. Leave this chick alone. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, it's not popular because of everything that's going on right now with race wars and all the equality in America. You know what I mean? Then you shouldn't have chosen a name in the first place because all this shit was going on way before. And if you're worried about your name because of what it's attached to, it doesn't make any sense to me. Lady A wins in my book. That's her name. You can't sue her and take her name. What's their reasoning? How can they justify having claim to a name that clearly doesn't belong to them? This is
Here's the end of her statement for you. Ready? You're gonna love this just as much as I do. You ready for this? She says, "Their refusal to come to an agreement that would be respectful of my work and my rights, however, has given me the clarity and the drive to not back down. Black lives, names, experiences, work, art, they all matter. Fellow independent artists have reached out to me to share their stories of name feuds that they lost because they were on the opposite side of big money and privilege. Not only will I not be one of them, but I am hopeful that this fight for what is rightfully mine will help those damaged by this type of bullying and erasure in the past, and that it will prevent it from happening in the future. I will not allow Lady Antebellum to obliterate me in my career so they can look woke to their fans." That's a direct quote.
Yo, isn't it funny
She
that
is 100% right about bullying.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
yo, isn't it funny that their names was Lady Antebellum? They got rid of it because it was a racist association,
Right.
and now they're doing exactly what the name
Exactly. And now they're using their power to minimize the experiences and career of a black woman.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Wow.
Anyway, I love that story. I hope she wins. I hope Lady A wins so hard. That's all I can say.
Me
Lady
too.
Anti-Moron is right. Absolutely.
Me too.
And
oh my God.
I got to be honest. If
Yes.
anyone wants my name for 100 million, you can have it. That's okay. No.
All right, Steve.
You should give them a ridiculous amount of money, or like, you can have it, but I want 90% of all your proceeds for the next 25 years.
Well, I think that was one of the arrangements, but I don't think she wanted to give it up for anything. And you know what? Good for her. She shouldn't have to. Good for her. All right, Stephen. Thank you, Latonia.
Yeah, we're
It's
an hour
great
and a
to have you back. Our first returning guest, and certainly not our last, and you'll be back. I'm excited to have you back again.
Oh yeah, man.
Steven?
Y'all are like a whole barrel of fun. It's awesome.
All right, guys. Thank you for coming out. Latonia, again, thank you for coming out. We'll be back next week at 6 o'clock, our new time. Let us know if you like the new time. We do.
Yeah.
So everybody have a good week, and we'll see you next week.
Right. Take care, guys.